Hey guys, Kjumper1 here. Just watched a video the other night, and I saw that I was tagged by FunkyPrepper for talk about war stories, not war stories, but army stories. In this case, sea stories. As you know, I'm a retired Marine, so it took me a while to sit there and think, and tons of stories, but I didn't want to get stumped and sit there and take up too much of your time. So I wrote a quick little list. Um, First story was when I was on the drill field as a drill instructor. Let's see, we had a recruit. I was actually walking between our squad bays, and it was connected through the center. So you went through the heads or the bathrooms, and went through the center hatch, the door, to connect to the other side of the barracks. And as soon as I broke through the hatch, this god-awful smell hit me. I mean, it was putrid. Knew right away what it was. So as you walk through, you first pass the shower room area, then the laundry room, and then the very next one are the shitter stalls. And lo and behold, the source of the smell, there was a recruit sitting there, and he was on the toilet, and he had shit all down his legs, inside of his camis, trousers, and there was a trail going from basically his ass all the way out into the squad bay. They were about a week or so into the training evolution, so we always taught the recruits that whenever you're talked to by a Marine, or also drill instructors, you always get on your feet in position of attention. Well, this kid looked like death warmed over, and like death whooped his ass a couple of times, and he attempted to stand up, and I just, I had my hand over my mouth trying to keep from gagging. I just told him, stop. I said, don't even move. Stay where the hell you're at. And he's like more than happy to do, to accommodate that. So I go out of the squad bay, and avoiding this trail of diarrhea. It's the longest trail of diarrhea I've ever seen. It looked like some the size of my freaking cow shit. That's how much it was. And I go into the duty hut, and I tell one of the drill instructors there, I said, hey, you got a kid in the head that's kind of sick. I said, you may want to go check up on him. And he was a little short Mexican guy, he's like, hey, what? And I said, hey, you need to go check it. I'm trying to keep from laughing my ass off. He goes out there, and he's like, holy shit, what the hell is this? And there was freaking, like I said, diarrhea, and he busts open the hatches, goes inside the head, and he's like, hey, what the hell? And he sees the kids sitting there, and he's hollering at him. He's like, get up and die! Oh, see, I was here. And he's like freaking puking and shit. So in that case, I guess you could say the shit really hit the fan. So yeah, those recruit shits myself. Next one I had, we were out the rifle range, and I was a senior drill instructor. I was in charge of the platoon, and we had one of our new guys. We called them Nicks. They were right out of drill instructor school, and kind of like a tradition, you always get the new guy, the Nick, and you kind of play a little joke on him to kind of, hey, pop his cherries, hey, welcome to the team. So we were on the rifle range in Parris Island, South Carolina. Very humid. It's like 130% humidity. It was freaking blazing hot. And the recruits are out there all day from the sun up to pretty much sundown, and they're just fermenting in their body funk. I mean, it's freaking nasty. So you wand them down with electric or metal wand to check for any metal, brass, and stuff like that, so they aren't sneaking any rounds off the range. Check their canteens and stuff like that. Well, when you get back to the squad bay, you got to strip them down and check their gear again, double check, per the SOP, operating procedure. So I told the drill instructor, I said, hey, I said, look, I said, we get back to the house, I need you to do something because the rest of the team's going to be busy. He said, yeah, no problem, boss, no problem. He was a real go-getter, So I went out there. I had them strip down the whole platoon. It was like probably about 70 recruits, and the smell is god awful. I mean, you hacking and trying to keep from puking. I mean, so I got all the other drill instructors, senior drill instructors. We came down in my duty hut, and we were looking through the blinds, and he was out there stripping down. He was doing a great job. Whiz bang job, and he came back, and I said, hey, I said, look. There's been problems in the past where recruits have put live rounds in their butt cheeks, and they've been caught. I said, so we can't play that. I said, what you need to do is get all the recruits online. He had them face outboard towards the windows, the portholes, and he had told them, said, make sure they bend over, spread their butt cheeks, and I need you to go by and check each one of their ass cracks for any rounds. So he goes on down there and he's checking them. He's trying to keep them gagging. He's like, get dressed, get dressed, get dressed, and we're freaking dying inside the duty hut. I mean, it was funny as hell. And when he comes back to the duty hut to tell me that he was done, he opens the hatch up and he says, hey boss, and he stops mid-sentence and we're rolling, we're dying. I can't even barely breathe once I speak to him. And he just looks at us and is like, that's fucked up. Good to go. And he goes right back out and he just starts swearing into their asses. Yes. So that was a nice little trick we played on him, breaking them in. Then another incident with the same drill instructor, rifle range. We were outside doing PT one afternoon, and I was out in front of the platoon. We were sitting down doing stretches, and my platoon was in front of me. My squad leaders and everything. We were facing each other, and I kept seeing my guy and squad leaders kind of chuckling. I was like, "What the hell are y'all laughing at?" "Oh, nothing, sir, nothing, sir." I was like, "Bullshit." I said, "What?" And they kind of like looked up over at the drill instructor. I was like, "What the hell?" My drill instructor, Nick, he's walking around, and we would tuck our sweatshirts into our PT shorts for whatever reason. Why we did it, I don't know. Now I look back, it was kind of cheap. But we wore silk or nylon type thin PT shorts, and they start out like this big. After you've worn them for a while and wash them, they kind of get like that. So you get the idea. I look over this guy, and that much of his ass cheeks are hanging out. And those of you who are maybe familiar with the Dukes of Hazzard, Daisy Dukes, the song, "Come on, baby, give me them Daisy Dukes." Well, he was living the dream. I was like, oh my God. Like, hey, Joe, sorry, come here. Yeah, what's up, boss? I say, I says, your ass is eating your shorts, and you got like that much of your ass hanging out. He said, oh, and he started trying to pull the shorts. I was like, no, I ain't gonna work. I said, go back up to the house. I got some PT shorts in my walker. Change over. So, that was drill instructor Daisy Dukes. Another one, rifle range, of course, again, different platoon. We used to have the church services out there at the range, and they, Marine Corps accommodates vegans, Muslim, Christian, pretty much anything. Any religion, we provide some kind of religious support for it. So on Sundays, it's an easy day for duty. You get church services from like, you go to chow, and then 07 to noon is like, you gotta go to church. So you just, drill instructor, you just, keeping track of how many recruits go out, how many come back. So I asked the guide, I said, hey guide, we got everybody going to church services, and he gave me accounts, and like 10 didn't go. So we had one kid that had to go to services, and he had to be we call them others, because if it's not just your Protestants, Catholics, your standard or your main religious groups, the others was like maybe vegan. So he had to go to Main Side, which is about 2.5 miles away. So there was a bus that came by and picked the recruits up. I told this kid, I said, look, I was already ticked off. I says, you're the only one out of the whole freaking company that's got to go over there to Main Side. I says, here's where you catch the bus. This is the time. I says, you better make sure you have your ass at that bus stop at the prescribed time to get back out here to the range. Oh, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. I was all right. So it was about 11:30, 11:45, and we're going to be going to chow soon. So I asked the guide, hey, we got everybody back. No sir, we're still missing one. I was like, don't tell me it's Recruit Smith. Yes sir. I was like, son of a bitch. 5 minutes later, I get a phone call. Hey, is this Senior Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Beal? I was like, yeah. He says, do you have a recruit? I says, is it Smith? He starts laughing. He says, yeah. I says, he missed the bus, didn't he? Yeah, he did. I was like, I'll be there. So I was pissed. So I had to get another drill instructor, watch my platoon. I get in our our pickup, called them Cut V's. I drove over there, pissed off. I pull up to the curb, and I see there's like 4 drill instructors off in the distance, and I see my knucklehead standing there. I'm like, oh. I was like, get your ass over here right now. And they're like, boy, you better go. Well, we always transport him to the back of the vehicle. Oh, he goes to get in the back of the vehicle. I was like, oh, hell no. You ain't freaking riding. You're walking. You better start freaking walking, boy. It's a long ways to go. So he's walking a little happy feet ass off, and I'm driving the truck like that, following him, and I'm getting a little closer. Wasn't going to hit him, you know, but I was pissed. Definitely wasn't going to hurt him. I was like, you better step it out, boy. I said, this truck going a little faster than you. So we're going and going and going. He's hot-footing it, and I was like, I better put his ass in the truck. So toss him in the back of the truck, take off, come to a stop sign, slam on the brakes, wham! Cut up on a cab. I take off, wham! He hits the tailgate, turn left, wham! Hits the sides. I was freaking wearing his ass out in that vehicle. And I tell you right now, by the time we got back, we went to lunch, noon chow. That afternoon, I smoked that ass good. I don't know if he ever went to other services again. He probably was converted to be a Protestant. I don't even know. So, yeah, the church boy. Another one. We're in a company formation out on the company streets in front of our barracks. And a few weeks into training, 3 weeks. And I'm looking down, make sure, you know, you got all the recruits aren't like this. They're aligned side by side, one single line. And I look down at 2 platoons, and I see this kid's feet. Everybody's feet are like this, but this is their toes. This kid's feet were like way freaking out of here. And what kind of caught my, the reason why I caught my eye about that was he had go fasters on running shoes, and everybody else was in boots. Big tall guy. I went down there, and I looked down, I was like, looking at his name tag he was wearing, and it said Pete, P-E-E-T. I said, recruit Pete? He says, yes, sir. I was like, look down. I said, where the hell are your boots at? He's like, this recruit's getting his boots made. I was like, getting them made? They didn't carry this recruit's stock and size and stock. I was like, boy, what kind of size feet you have? 13.5 feet. I'm like, holy crap. I said, you got freaking boats on your feet. I said, you know what? Your name ain't Pete no more. From this point on, it's Recruit Feet. And that's what he was. And when he graduated, I said, where you at, Feet? Private Feet right here, sir. Hey, good to go. So, yeah, old footsies. Let's see what else we got here. Another time, I was working at officer candidate school, training, you know, future Marine officers. And I was a platoon sergeant. And we had about 60, 70 officer candidates. And for each platoon had a corpsman assigned to them. And, you know, beginning of training, I'd introduce them to the, you know, platoon staff's introduced by the platoon commander and so forth. And our corpsman, you know, our medic, I brought him out there and said, hey, it's eyeballs. And I said, hey, this is our doc. This is Doc so-and-so. And, you know, he was pretty hard-ass. And I told him, says, hey, Doc, this is like my third year working with OCS. And I said, hey, explain to him what a silver bullet is. And most of these, all the kids that we trained, they'd come, there's different officer programs for the Marine Corps. These kids were college seniors going into their senior year. So they had already did 6 weeks previous as juniors, like a summer or two before. So they knew how everything worked. So I explained to them, hey, we all remember the silver bullet. I'm like, yes, sir. You know, it's a rectal thermometer is what it is, and it's silver. So my doc, he always carried them right here in his pocket or on his belt. And I told my platoon, I says, look, you go down as a heat case because your ass didn't hydrate. I says, you're going to get the freaking silver bullet. I don't give a shit where we're at. We be in a freaking chow hall, you getting prodded. So PT events, you know, they were hydrating like crazy. It was summers in Virginia, extremely humid, very hot. And so we're on a 10-mile hike, you know, day hike, and did our little break, and I'm trying to check on my platoon, make sure everybody's good to go. Hey, hydrate, drink. So we start going up this hill, going up to the tree line, and we did a 10-minute break, and they had this candidate off in the road there, the path, the trail, and boom, trousers down to the ankles, ass bent up in the air like over a log, and poked him right in his butt in front of the whole freaking company. And I was like, see? I said, that's what your ass gonna get if you don't if you fall out, you don't hydrate. So we're going up the hill, we're taking off again. I'm like, hey, keep it tight, so you don't cause, you know, big gaps and people aren't having to run to catch up in the back part of the company. I had one of my kids was falling back, and I was like, hey, Doc, there's one right there, Doc. He's like, no platoon sergeant. He hauls ass, boom, kept it tight. And one kid, he he freaking stumble stepped into a little rut in the ground or trail, and he kind of fell down like, Doc, he's going down as a heat case. Get him, get him. This kid jumped up like the devil jumped inside of his ass. He freaking, I'm good, platoon sergeant. Pew! He damn near passed up the platoon. And he was carrying probably about a good 60, 70 pounds of gear. So, we had, after we got back and, later on in training, I had a kid that went down, heat case, got poked with a silver bullet. When he came back from medical, I got him in front of the platoon. I was like, come here, Collins, not his name. I said, what happened to you today? He said, this candidate went down as a heat case. I said, really? I said, so what happened? He says, this recruit got the silver bullet, platoon sergeant. I was like, didn't feel good? He's like, no, platoon sergeant, very humiliating. So you use that as, a little bit of psychology to motivate the rest of these kids. So I had a couple by the end of the summer that got the silver bullet, and I stand there and say, hey, I said, where are my werewolves at? And here, platoon sergeant, like 3 or 4 of them step out, because I said, what kills a werewolf? Silver bullet. So that was my werewolves in my platoon. The last story I have, because I won't make this an extremely long video. Right before I retired, about 5 years ago, I was master sergeant, and I had young guys. They walk around, they doing the freaking nut tap, check, oh shit, So they walk around holding their hands over their crotch and stuff, and I was like, they try to tap me, and I was like, you tap me, I said, you're going down, so I'm gonna take your ass out. I'm not gonna write them up on charges and like that. I was never that way. So I had one of my guys, kind of a little tall, lanky guy. He comes up, tries nut tapping, and he grapples me. They always want to take the old master sergeant out. So he grabs me from behind. I was like, all right. Grabbed him, hip tossed him, took him to the ground, grappled him, choking him out. Way we've been trained. And I had the whole platoons all around there. Get him, kick his ass. Of course, I wasn't beating his ass. It was, grab assing. So I'm good, master. I was like, kind of popped back. Wham, 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 right in the freaking sack. Took his ass out. I said, I told you, don't fuck with me. So he nut tapped me about a few days later. I was like, all right, guys, you get nut tapped, you go down for a little bit. So I'll get you back when you least expect it. About a week or so went by, and he come up to me and asked me, he said, hey, Master Sergeant, he says, how did you guys do the exchange guidon? For those who don't know, the guidon's the stick, and you got the platoon little flag on it, the guidon. He says, how did you do the exchange guidon with the guides down at Parasol? So it's like, oh, okay. And it's a ditty, you go with the time of the music, it's like, dun, 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 X, dun, 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 change. Grab the guidon, you take it from the guide, you carry it, and then march off. It's a little ditty, and a little ceremony, I guess. So I was like, oh, okay, let me think about it. So he had a broomstick, minus the broom head. So I said, give me a second, I'm going through it. I was like, okay, here we go. X, boom, boom. He's the guide, he's holding the stick. Exchange, exchange, boom. As soon as I got this point, wham! Took that bottom and cracked him right straight in his junk. He dropped like he got hit by a 105 howitzer round. He was down and didn't move. I looked down, I got close, I says, I told you I was going to get your ass. And I just walked off, and everybody's like, oh, shit! So, I guess I got him good. And the next day he comes in, he goes, Master Sergeant, he's like kind of gimping. I said, what's going on? He's like, I'm hurting. He goes, I went home last night, and I was pissing blood. I was like, oh, shit, pissing blood. He goes, well, no, not really. But I don't think I'm going to ever have kids when I get older. I said, I think I'm going to have to adopt. I was like, I said, yeah. I said, I told you ass. I said, don't fuck with the old master sergeant. I ain't as old as your ass thinks. So Darren, that is my sea stories. Apologize for lateness. I'm still getting used to this tag stuff. But yeah, I could go on for hours. As I knew you remember that from our get together when I came over earlier this year. But yeah, again, there's my sea stories. I appreciate the tag, buddy. And I don't really know anybody to tag other than, if you don't mind, everybody, Army Stinger. I know we've chatted back and forth. I'm pretty sure I remember you saying you did some time with the Army. So Army Stinger, if you're up for it, you don't have to by all means. I'd love to hear some of your sea stories from the Army side of the house. You know, I know you did some timing just like me. So again, that's what I got, and I hope you guys enjoy it. You got any comments, please leave them. Please sub. I try to get videos out every now and then on you know, supplies, equipment, and gear and stuff like that I use for prepping and bugging out. So again, guys, I appreciate it, and you guys take care. God bless.